Sky F1 are known for being biased against teams like Red Bull, but they've been testing the limits of professional journalism and things have spilt over. The latest events has brought much bigger consequences and repercussions than anyone could have imagined, and Ted Kravitz, Sky Sports pit lane reporter, has put himself in the spotlight. The comments he made towards Verstappen during the Mexican GP really angered the Dutchman, and the whole team decided to boycott Sky. But things will not be ending here, as fellow reporters are speaking out. You won't believe the comments and accusations that are being made, so don't go anywhere. During the Mexican GP, Ted Kravitz was walking down the pit lane and spoke about Hamilton, calling him an 8-time world champion. Although he did correct himself right away, he did it in a way that has Red Bull furious. He corrected himself by saying that Hamilton was robbed of his 8th championship by Verstappen. This is something that's not allowed in professional journalism. Having a personal opinion is one thing, and freedom of speech should be respected. But disrespecting a 2-time world champion while being one of the most popular streaming services in the F1 world is something that doesn't sit right with us. The Austrian team decided to boycott Sky F1 and decided not to answer questions asked by their side during the Mexican Grand Prix, but they will continue with the regular answering of questions during the Brazilian Grand Prix. According to Horner, this one-race ban that they applied to Sky just goes to show that the team has a statement, and they defend their driver whenever that is possible. Making claims like this has truly grinded Horner's gear, who has to deal with the budget cap breach penalty for the 2021 season. When talking about this matter, Horner said, "We were obviously disappointed with a series of derogatory comments that have been made on Sky. So we felt that this weekend, we'd just take a break and that it wouldn't do Sky any harm for us to take a break this weekend. There needs to be a balance in the commentary. Some of the commentary is excellent, but in some of the pieces, there's too much sensationalization. We stand together as a team. Next race, service will be resumed. We just wanted to lay down a marker and say certain things are unacceptable. And as a team, we stand together and we stand united as a team." Although Sky F1 had direct access to F1 TV, direct interactions between Red Bull and Sky F1 weren't made throughout the Mexican Grand Prix. What's even more interesting, and controversial at the same time, is the fact that Mercedes hasn't been vocal when it comes to this situation. When Hamilton was giving out statements during the Mexican GP, fans started to boo him, and Perez started wagging his finger in disagreement and asking them to stop. And now you have a streaming service attacking your biggest rival in 2021, accusing him of robbing you out of the title, and you're going to keep quiet? That's a statement by itself. The question of freedom of speech is always going to be asked, and it's true that everybody is entitled to an opinion, but that opinion sometimes hurts others, and in this case, it's a 2-time world champion that we're talking about. That is something Horner has pointed out, saying that these accusations are everything but freedom of speech. Well, an accusation of championships being robbed is something that we don't feel is an impartial commentary. That is, we don't feel fair or balanced in any way. Max was very upset about it, and as a team, we support him fully. We were equally upset about it. As a team, we took the decision this weekend, and I took the decision that we'll have a weekend off. Red Bull are a cheap target sometimes. Ted Kravitz received support from his colleague Martin Brundle, and according to us, the whole Sky F1 team is making themselves look like clowns now. The easiest thing to do is just go out, apologize, admit that your accusations were purely emotional and had nothing to do with the outcome of the season, and continue what you're doing with a little less bias. But we guess that bending your back hurts so much, and the stubbornness of trying to prove everyone you're in the right doesn't hurt as much. For the avoidance of doubt, my friend and colleague Ted Kravitz has had my full support for the past 26 years. Face-to-face dialogue is the only way to sort out issues and settle disputes in the relentless crucible of the F1 paddock. We all have opinions and different jobs to do. That's life. It's a whole circus show. You can't just go and say, Verstappen, you might have won the most races in 2021, you might have been the only competitor Hamilton had ever since 2016, but you're definitely not worthy of the 2021 championship title. Is it Verstappen's fault that Latifi crashed? Is it Verstappen's fault that he changed tyres, hoping for a couple of laps of clean racing? After all, Hamilton did realise that the team messed up when he didn't enter the pits right away and Verstappen did. So everything after this is just pure anger and disapproval of something that happened 1 year ago. Verstappen also spoke about the boycott that his team made towards Sky F1. adding, "It had nothing to do with this weekend, but this year it's been a constant. Yeah, kind of like being disrespectful every day, especially by one particular person. And it's enough. I don't accept it. You can't live in the past. You just have to move on. Social media is a very toxic place, and if you're constantly being like that on live TV, you make it worse instead of trying to make it better. You keep disrespecting me, and at one point, I'm not tolerating it anymore. That's why I decided to stop answering them." It goes without saying that the pure unprofessionalism displayed by Sky F1 is something that needs to be addressed properly, whether that's from other teams or from the FIA. F1 isn't a place where you can just throw cheap shots at whoever you think is worth them. Imagine an interviewer goes and tells Hamilton, 2008 was a scam. Timo Glock offered you that title for free in the last corners of the race. Imagine the analysis that Sky F1 would bring in order to defend the 7-time world champion, or as Kravitz would say, the 8-time world champion. Ted has spoken about this matter with Verstappen, asking him to listen carefully next time before making a decision on his own. Kravitz spoke to an interviewer from Ziggo Sports, a Dutch broadcaster service, and said that his words were taken out of context. It's more than obvious that he will try to take the defensive line now, but when you say something so passionate, then everything else just falls into the deep waters of the hatred. Ploij is a reporter for Ziggo Sport, and according to him, Brundle's words were taken out of context. If you listen carefully to that interview, he's walking through the paddock and he says it would be a very nice script for a film, so cuts were made to that, so everyone only gets to hear that last little bit, where he tells us he was robbed, not Max, but the title. So Hamilton has been robbed. He doesn't even mention the whole name Max Verstappen. He, talking about Kravitz, sent a WhatsApp message to me saying, "At no point have I ever said what Christian Horner, Jos, Raymond, or anybody else thinks I did, and are apparently upset about. It is hugely amplified again by those in England." The English press have been bashing Red Bull and Max for a year now. I don't like that. It's a bit of a game, you know. The English are bashing Max and Red Bull, and he's now being put forward as a scapegoat. He isn't. I'm stick up for Ted. Although Ploij is sticking to Ted, similar to Brundle, we're able to hear Kravitz saying, "Verstappen, the guy that he got robbed by," while walking down the paddock. So whether that is a movie plot or just one of the wildest fantasies that Kravitz has in his head, this is nowhere near professional journalism from a streaming provider. This is a very sensitive topic that Kravitz chose to speak about, and as an interviewer, we believe that his goal should be to calm the situation and bring the sport into a more peaceful state of mind, rather than the toxic environment that is currently circulating around it. We've seen Hamilton being booed in Austria and Verstappen being booed in Silverstone, and that is something that the F1 sport doesn't need if they want to continue with the campaign of fair and square racing. Competitiveness and rivalry on the track are one thing, but taking it outside and making a public agenda about a robbery of a championship is something that the F1 sport shouldn't tolerate in general, and repercussions should be applied to Kravitz. Do you think Max and Red Bull were right to boycott Sky? Let us know in the comments below.